Coming from the true space, we ain't entertaining neighbors. I don't give a fuck what you say. Found the universal coochie, planting seeds and birds fruit. Now I'm really looking juicy. Welcome to the true space. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the true space. Welcome to the true space. Yeah, bitch, welcome to the true space.
Alright, Scorpio, let's see what's going on for y'all going on this Libra season. What archetype are y'all paying attention to? Are you going to be consciously aware of what's going to be presented in front of you this Libra season? And how can you best alchemate and absorb this archetype? The Seven of Swords. So now we're talking about, oh, it's this card. Okay. And it's funny because this is the moon in Aquarius. So, and it's crazy because you're facing all of these squares with the Aquarian energy going on. So definitely are getting hit heavy, and it's Saturn and it's Jupiter aspects too, you know, more farther out, more interpersonal relationship oriented signs, or more on a large scale, more so less personal, just including you and your own internal natures, but you and your interactions with other people being hit on that front. Seven of Swords means haters. Seven of Swords means thieves, spies, someone from another side, or someone who is deeming you as someone from an opposite side and trying to come in and persuade you, come in and steal some of your ideas, come in and steal some of your juice, because they look at you as the opposition, or constantly attacking, or running and taking your ideas and going trying to claim that they're their own. They're going to be really coming to look at your sauce, or really going to want, because they don't like your passion. They don't like how intense and deeply you can connect to things. Because, or I'm saying they, not necessarily abstract, but they as in the collective right now, because what's practical is in Saturn is in Aquarius, which is forward thinking, you know, collective mind type aspects, social connections, you know, and ideas and concepts we can all get behind, you know, progression, moving forward and shit like that. Nobody wants to hear about your emotions right now, or how you feel, or how you deeply connect, or how you transform and transmute energy, even though that may very well be what is needed to rectify the situation or just the world at large. That's not what is going to be looked at or perceived as stability with Saturn and Aquarius. So you guys are coming with that heat, whereas people are going to be trying to steal your sauce, or they're going to be trying to discredit you, or maybe even try and make you think, or implant certain ideas and mindsets in your head, you know, make you think that the feeling that you are feeling is not validated because you can't articulate it or put it into words. You know, people are always trying to get Scorpios into that vibe, or to have them doubt the intuition that they are feeling, because it's rests on an energetic level. But any Scorpio that allows themselves to go inside, or anyone that has some knowledge of self, ain't gonna fall for that shit, or they're too deep into that shit and too intuitive for somebody to go and tell them that they don't feel something, or that it doesn't matter, you know, that type of shit. You can't go and tell a Scorpio that how they feel doesn't matter. But this mindset, or this card, is telling you to really watch out for those type of people, or to watch out for the dark. And that's probably what led me to start speaking about that psychic ability, because it's moon in Aquarius, this card, the Seven of Swords. So We're even talking about very intuitive type aspects. The moon in Aquarius is very intuitive, just as because it's able to disattach, aka Aquarius controls the water. It's not in the water. So, with that type of aspect, you won't get lost, or it's easy to disconnect, aka I can see how you would be able to channel, because you're not emotionally attaching to things. You're able to take things light, so therefore you're able to process a lot of information, not hold and retain on to any of it. But what if you need to hold and retain on to it, or what if you not have to intellectually remember it, but remember how it had felt? Maybe it presents itself in a different shape and form because you weren't putting focus on how it felt. Now it looks different, pulled the classic Count Olaf type shit, and now you think it's something else, but it's not. And that's where you're not using your Scorpion energy at its fullest. So watch the shadows and what's going on in the dark, and the information that is being transferred into dark. This is what you're going to be focusing on Libra season, and what's going to be presented in front of you. So it's knowing how to navigate through the dark, and to not get lost into that opposition type mindset where you are casting people as others, to not go too far deep into that mindset and forget all the commonalities, or the how you can link up and create collective groups with everybody, based on multiple different things. You and these group of people fucking wake up at this time, but you and these group of people, go and do this shit, that type of thing. You can make up a commonality on everybody or anything. So it's to not get too far into that other type aspect, but to not be afraid of that battle. To not be afraid to define, what your collective mind is, or for you not to be afraid for the dream work makes the teamwork, and to attack the opposition, and to attack the niggas that are attacking you, what I mean? Start playing strategic, stop holding back that stinger. Why do you have that stinger for if you're not supposed to use it? But use it strategically. It's not going out willy-nilly and stuff like that. But why do you have that stinger, Scorpio, if you're not supposed to use it? Let's see what's going on the shadow. What is Scorpio unconscious of? What are they not paying attention to and may play out subconsciously this Libra season? And how do we best not allow this energy from preventing us from assimilating the healthy archetypes from the light deck? The Two of Cups, which is interesting, which is based off of relationships and just blending your energy with somebody else. And getting in and starting that relationship, connecting with people. So maybe based off of connections that you have, or a certain relationship that is established based off of specific reasons, going to lead you into states of being because of this, because you're mixing and mingling energy with this individual. And it's not even has to be an individual, it's a relationship that you are having, something that you are blending energy with. So this could be a person, place, or a thing. On that type of aspect, but it depends on the type of relationship that you are having. So really evaluate the purity, not even just the purity, but the purity or the essence of all of your relationships. The integrity, that's the word I was trying to use, the integrity. And if they're based on some real shit, then they could be perpetrated. But if it's based on something faulty, that very well may be it. That very well may be it. If you can't even, define what that relationship is, why is it muddy in your mind? Oh, already that's red flags, and that's something that you need to check out. So it could be a relationship or something that you are having a relationship with that is causing you to maybe be unaware of what's going on in the dark, or kind of allowing yourself to be rocked to sleep. So be careful of that. Let's ask the oracle what advice it has to give for Scorpio. What advice for Scorpio? Time to take action. It's pretty interesting. It's time to take action. Maybe that's what the Seven of Swords is talking about, in terms of this distinction was kind of already being made, you know? The teams have kind of already been set, but you're just pretending like you're not part of the game, you know? But then you keep on with that mindset, you're going to end up behind. So get with it now. You know what I mean? Start it now, you know? Be about that shit now. You're trying to transform into that shit now. You know? Don't wait for anything else. Or this Libra season is the time to do it. Or the archetypes that are going to be playing out and are going to be presenting itself to you this Libra season is going to be calling you or putting out that hand for you to get that done. But yeah, Sagittariuses, let's see what's going on with y'all. What are you conscious with the light deck? What are you consciously being aware of this Libra season? What is presenting itself to you? Oh, goddamn. Interesting. The Sag pulled the Hermit card, aka Sag. And you know, this is funny because that mutable type aspect is just talking about already a square. So already it's a learning experience that you're going to have to go through this Libra season, which is interesting. But with Sagittarius being ruled by Jupiter, we're talking about having that knowledge and wisdom based off of experience, that willingness and openness to go through experiences and to jump through experiences so that you can actually build knowledge and wisdom, not based off of reading a book necessarily, and not based off of hearsay, what other people have said, but you actually living it out and going through it yourself. And this is what makes you wise. This is what makes you able to give good advice. This is what makes you able to see things from different perspectives, because you've been in those positions yourself, and you know that things aren't clear cut. You know that things aren't black and white. So it's not hard for you to see that mutability. But can you make sense out of those experiences? Have you organized them in your mind in a way that is constructive? That's a major theme that is going to be playing out, because it's not just about those experiences. And it's funny that it's Hermit. It's saying to slow down, to reassess, because moving into Libra season with Sagittarius, this is causing that sextile, you know, fire and air, harmonious, causing a sextile, whereas you're creating new relationships. There's new relationship things being presented as being nice. That's red flag for Sag, because they're gonna jump into it and experience it, because they want to understand it and know it through experience and build up knowledge and wisdom based around it. So the Hermit card is calling for you to move a little bit slower, you know, for you to not just jump into these relationships and experiences and go through all of them. You already went through a lot. How well have you reassessed them? How practical are your ways of going about things and organizing your time and stuff like that? Incorporating other people and relationships, and now starting alterations to your schedule before you even had fleshed out one that you already had or were supposed to be up on. Moving in the wrong direction. You need more stability, and maybe it's calling for some ground for some grounding too, because have a lot of air going on right now where people are being very in their mind and logical, which is just adding fuel to your fire because it's just putting you through experiences, you know, and it's triggering your past experiences too, and maybe forcing you to getting into that self-righteous energy, or you're gonna have to start preaching at niggas, and you don't want to have to be in that preaching teacher role, or you didn't come out here to be anybody's father, you know, and babysit them out and shit, and nobody wants you to react like that, but they be acting all dumb and foolish and naive, or to be adding all that wind to that fire to put you into those states of being. So really slow down and reassess, and don't just be jumping into these things and be shaking all these hands. Really be like, hold on, how am I spending my time? Hold on, you know, is this really practical? Does this really make sense? Do I even really need this, regardless if it's packaged nice? Do I really even need this? So that's an archetype that you're going to be playing with a lot, and how well you're able to make sense out of things this Libra season. How well you're able to organize these experiences you will go through in your mind in a beneficial way that actually starts working for you. And let's see what's going on unconsciously for y'all. What's going on in the shadows for Sagittarius? What are they unaware of for this Libra season? And how can they prevent that from stopping them from bringing up the positive attributes of the light deck? Knight of Serpents. It's interesting. A desire, or be setting out on a mission, or trying to prove that you can obtain stability. Trying to go out and even though it'll be a slow process, or a slow endeavor that is being processed through, a slow thing that you are maybe descending into, that is slowly starting to material in, or something that you have just set off into. You may not be looking at it for what it truly is, you know, a desire for you to go and obtain some practicality, you know. It's like you're jumping into some of those earth aspects, or you're jumping into creating some type of stability for yourself, but how practical is it? How much does it work? That doesn't make sense, you know. Just because it's physical, doesn't mean, just because it's dense doesn't mean that it's valuable. Doesn't mean that it has value, or that it's going to provide for you. So that assessment part, you know, has that part been done? Because the desire to complete the mission may overshadow the desire for you to be on that mission, and for you to be leading into that stability, maybe lead you into that rushed action, you know, because you want to get going, you want to have that stability, you want to feel it now, but you have to have that shit ironed out first. You have to a T, you know, because once you jump in it, and once you start putting your faith towards things, once that foundation is solid, you're really going to be able to use that Sagittarian energy and really put that faith into whatever it is you're trying to manifest. But don't shortcut those corners. Double check, you know, check 3 times. That type of aspect. Fucking Mercury retrograde. Shit's not playing. And let's see what the Oracle deck has to say for Sagittarius. What advice they have to give for Sagittarius this Libra season. Ooh. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. It says be bold and make the first move, which is interesting because I have been saying slow down, but I wonder in which respect it would be referring to. Maybe that's something that you would understand better than me, but it's definitely a call to, and Virgo is slowing down. You do, or earth energy just within itself, but Virgo being summer in itself, it's kind of, it's routine, and kind of routine kind of does feel slow, like just when you're in a rut and you're doing the same things over again. Doesn't time move slow within itself? You know what I mean? It does kind of carry on that aspect, but for it to say be bold and make the first move, I think it's more so telling you, for you to define what value is, or for how you to, what for you to make sense out of, or else you're going to be given an experience that you're going to, or you're going to be given value, or you're going to be set on a mission, you know, and it's not going to be something that aligns with your desires because those boxes were unchecked, and they're going to be faulty. You know what I mean? So I think that's more so along the lines of the message that that Oracle deck is trying to convey. All right, Capricorn. What it do with Capricorn? What are y'all going through this Libra season? What archetype are y'all playing with? Or what archetype is presenting itself in front of y'all, and how can you best assimilate its positive attributes? Three of Cups. Interesting, Capricorn. Interesting. The Three of Cups. That's interesting because not only are you already in a square with the Sun and Mars and those aspects, this card is talking about Mercury and Cancer, which is funny. Which is another square aspect. So, talking about your feelings, Capricorn, this is what's going to happen. Something that you're going to find yourself having to do more of. And whereas it may feel uncomfortable and it may feel unvulnerable, but what is your goal, Capricorn? What is your goal? Really ask yourself that. Really honestly ask yourself that. What your goal is and how bad do you want it, you know, and how do you get to it, you know? What is the most efficient and effective way to get to this goal and desire? When you're dealing with that Capricorn energy, automatically you have to know that a natural opponent or a natural barrier or a natural energy that you are going to have to learn to assimilate is that Cancerian energy, aka how you feel, aka the vulnerable aspects, your private life, you know, what things happen behind closed doors, you know, the things that happen, you know, on that internal process before you go and share that into the world, before it's all packaged by the time we're getting to Capricorn and shit like that. So you may find yourself having to talk a lot more about your feelings, and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's going to be, you're going to feel vulnerable, and that's a bullet you're going to have to bite, because that's a state of being you're going to have to learn how to master and control. If you want actual fucking rock solid foundation, if you want, you know, some clean shit, if you really want to move efficiently, if you really want things to move the best, you're going to have to blend your emotions, or you're going to have to play with that vulnerability type of aspect. You're going to have to know how to be intuitive or tune into your feelings and emotion within the moment, not past, not in the present, but within the moment. That's everything. AKA, if you don't believe it, look at the best athletes. There could be an athlete whose everything he does is technical and precise and it's clean, you know? He's mathematically exquisite. But the nigga who's all loose and then doesn't really have a style and doesn't follow any particular pattern is the nastiest, illest nigga to ever step on the court. Meanwhile, there are 10 other dudes who are perfect, you know, technical and doing all that, but nobody can move and do those moves of that guy, if you get what I mean, because he's blending into, but he plays basketball with passion, you know, he gets all in it and shit like that. Not saying that you have to get lost and only focus on your feelings, but you have to blend it, because it's going to give you the ultimate fuel. That's going to give you the ultimate glue. You're getting too dry. Capricorn's very dry, aka practical. You're only thinking about the earth aspect and not thinking about no water. But for you to run the best operation, for things to move the best smoothly, I'm telling you, fucking engines need oil. Engines need lubrication and shit like that. You know what I mean? So there needs to be the fluid. Even within that aspect, even within machinery, to make it work, you need the fluid. You need connectivity within the workplace. You know, if people aren't connecting with each other or aren't able to establish any deep connections, you're going to take a dip in efficiency. So that's that type of aspect. So learning how to speak about your feelings, learning how to articulate these, or that archetype playing out this Libra season coming up, is going to teach you how to establish better stability. It's going to help you accomplish that goal that you are trying to get to. It's going to help improve your efficiency, if you get what I mean, by adding into that more connective aspect. Now you know that when you communicate about your feeling, you know, people feel more comfortable around you in this place, and then all of a sudden, you know, you have respect or something like that, or now you have a role, or you're able to carve out roles, or people take you more seriously, if you get what I mean. Otherwise, you're gonna seem invulnerable, invulnerable or unopened, and people aren't gonna want to approach you. People aren't gonna want to tell you about their problems. And then you know, now you're out in the less information. You see, that's the type of mindset that you can get where you're getting into too serious. But those conversations when you're talking about your feelings is going to help you prevent you from getting into that too serious mindset, because you understand you're going through things too, or you're not forgetting about that emotional realm. And if you're smart, you're trying to learn how to blend and incorporate it. Let's see what you're going through unconsciously. Unconsciously, this Libra season, what is Capricorn to be hit by, and how can we best prevent this from getting in the way of absorbing the positive attributes of the light? Whew, card flew out. 5 of Wands. Interesting. With the 5 of Wands, this card is representing Saturn and Leo, which is interesting. Saturn, already dealing with the Saturnian energy with Capricorn, but in Leo. So it's more so fighting stability, a role in your creative expression. Fighting or at least boundaries to your creative expression is what's going to be unconsciously holding you back from feeling comfortable of speaking about how you feel. There's maybe even childhood repressed energy when we're talking about Libra type aspects, or boundaries or barriers and blocks that proceed from childhood type aspect, that is hindering you from speaking about your feelings and emotions. And when we're talking about Leo, they have that childlike energy to them in itself. So yes, it represents children, but that childlike aspect, because of Leo, or Leo is just showing or representing, is within all of us. All of us have that, aka you have a 5th house. you know. So everybody has that childlike aspect inside of them. But now we're talking about unconscious barriers to this creative expression. So what boundaries are you setting for yourself? What are the limitations and parameters of the reality that are you setting for yourself? And are you cutting off an avenue where you would like to add more expression? Is there something that you feel you would love to creatively express, but there are a block or something that is stopping you from getting into that avenue? And because you're unable to get into that form of expression, now when you start talking about your feelings, it's all pent up shit, you know. And now it's all what you're feeling in the moment. It's all bitterness because you weren't able to get that creative expression out, you know. So your feelings is all stuffed up and bitter and lack of efficiency, you know. This could lead to getting too serious. This is what's leading you to going on to the negative sides of Capricorn. So really check those boundaries and seeing, am I blocking off an area that I want to put creation towards, that I want to build some foundation into? Why are you stopping yourself? Or what's preventing you? You know, just literally that mindset that you are blocking that off. Nobody said it's going to be easy. But as soon as you say that it can't be done, you're blocking off that path, shutting out that possibility of that actually being manifested. Whereas once you open that, whether it's even a 1 in a million, and it's not even necessarily have to be in a 1 in a million. Why are people always going into that mindset? It's funny. But it's probably better odds than 1 in a fucking million. And that's what I mean. That you'll be able to. So why create that boundary? And if the point of it all is to reach your highest potential, then expand that boundary to as far as it can and see where you can go. Why even set your limits? You don't know your fucking limit, so why even set it? And that's something that Capricorns have to fucking wire in their head, because they are ambitious and have that energy to go up and climb and shit like that. But you always talk about structure. There's always boundaries and limitations and shit like there's always levels and shit like that. You're always playing the game, and you know, and all of that shit, not realizing you the boss. You could have built that whole level. You could have, you know, went and separated. You build your own game type aspect, or you're the world builder. You're playing this game so ill, so well, and shit like that. AKA, you know, like all of these niggas in the NBA and shit like that. I was just thinking about all of that shit. Fucking telling them not to play and all of that shit. That shit's wild because of the all of that shit. But I was just thinking, because it's niggas like Kyrie. I'm like, damn, Kyrie? But it's niggas like Kyrie. And I was just like, if these niggas were to literally go and start their own league, people been talking about it. Not about necessarily talking that league in any real talk aspect, but people have mentioned that. And just imagine, if LeBron ever left and started his own league, aren't you going to go and fucking watch the LeBron league? Kyrie, imagine watching ball without Kyrie, and he went to go start his own league, some Uncle Drew league or some shit like that, and mad NBA players are pulling up all the ones they didn't let, you know, some NBA legends and shit. That would be fucking crazy insane. So it's like, yeah, fuck it. And then now you're creating a whole new end, and then the NBA is like, oh, I'm sorry, you know, start changing rules and shit like that. But that type of aspect. But yeah, let's see what the Oracle has to say for Capricorns. What advice it has to give to Capricorn for Libra season. Capricorn. The end of a tough cycle approaches. That's crazy. Because Pluto and Cap. Pluto's like in the last decan, you know, the last degrees, 24 something like that, degrees of Capricorn. And y'all been going through it, because all of that energy, stability, and the structures of everything is being changed. So it's like y'all can't even be ill at the game anymore. We don't even know the game type aspect. But we are building that new shit, or we are stepping into that new thing. And y'all Capricorns, I can't even talk shit about Capricorns because y'all definitely are leading into that. Y'all definitely are leading and playing that example. Y'all been doing shit like that, but y'all setting that example of what foundations actually work, of what practicality actually does help build stability, and what is frivolous, and what is may look nice or may look stable but is actually janky and all of that. Y'all point that shit out. So the appreciation of your energy is coming. They just have to give death to the negative aspects of your energy. But I'm telling you that just being who you are, that Capricornian aspect, you're gonna start seeing rewards for that soon, or at least that's what the Moon Oracle is saying. After this trial and tribulation, after that square with the sun you're going through, you'll start to see the benefits, or the learning experience, or how much you have learned coming out of that experience, or how much you have grown from that experience going through this square. Yeah, so let's check Aquarius. What is going on the light side for Aquarius? What are you consciously paying attention to this Libra season? What archetype is going to present itself to you, and how can you best absorb the positive aspects of this energy? Eight of Cups. Eight of Cups. And it's interesting because Aquarius, I bash Aquarius a lot, and I really don't even mean to, because y'all know everything. And that's the crazy thing. It's like, and I have like my whole generation has Uranus and fucking Aquarius. So we on some ill type shit. You can't tell my generation knows everything. And that's not even just bragging. Just look at how it goes. The progression of things. How this generation is, we're gonna inherit the world. And it's funny because we came up and this in-between transition where we were the first ones to grow up with it, aka the generation prior grew up without all of these technological aspects, and then were introduced to it into their after they had developed and had went through childhood and shit like that. We were introduced to this shit during our childhood, so it kind of gave us a different type of boost. I feel like it's the same thing with the next generation, but they're kind of fucked too, because they've been had it. So it's kind of like they've been kind of fried. It's where type of aspect, say you're having ankle weights, our generation had the ankle weights for a better amount of time, if you get what I mean, aka if you wear too heavy of ankle weights too long, you know what I mean, you're gonna get it's gonna be harder to run fast, if you get what I mean. And if you wear them too short, you're not gonna really have anything. But just right, you're gonna give it that little boost. If y'all get what I mean. But fuck that analogy and talk about all that shit. But the Eight of Cups, we're talking about, this card represents Saturn and Pisces. So it's interesting because a lot of people are getting together based off of with the Aquarian energy going on around, a lot of us are getting together based off of, the collective mind type aspects, or starting to define social groups and shit like that, and what kind of associations you belong to, or what kind of group or delineation, on the world stage, what is your team, what team are you repping? What set are you repping? That's the type of energy that is being played with this Aquarian energy coming out. But this card being pulled means that you're being faced with the boundaries of belief. which you're being placed on with the boundaries of the emotions of the collective, which is funny because with Aquarius, we're talking about the collective mind and what we all think, what's logically best to move forward for everybody on a collective level without diving into something that is as subjective as emotions, without diving into something that is so independent as your experiences and how you feel as an individual, but more so on what you actually practically need and what you think, and what team you are playing for, and how can we logically move forward? How do we incorporate new things? How do we come up with new ideas and push us into the future type aspect? That's what everybody's dealing with. But a lot of boundaries that may come from you communicating, from you being as revolutionary as you want to be, is the beliefs of other people, and that bridge and that gap between it, because you are an intellectual person. It's not that you don't understand intuition. It's not that you don't understand feelings and emotion, but maybe that's not your primary, or you can't understand how people would get lost in it. That type of aspect. But those boundaries are building, and it's funny because the Eight of Cups energy kind of talks about abandonment, being able to abandon something after it's halfway full, or it's Eight of Cups, you're almost at that end. But when you're in search of real fulfillment, you're going to have to be able to let go, even though you have built up to a certain point, and that's not going to be something you'll be able to see just dealing with the Aquarian mind that you naturally have, just thinking about what is most logical in the current moment in time, that type of stuff. Not knowing the feelings and emotions, or being able to tap into the feelings and emotions of people around you. You're going to need to communicate, or you're going to need to hear them talk, or you're going to need to have some type of information type deal when a lot of information is already being communicated, and you don't need to know, or it doesn't need to be said. If you were paying attention, you would be able to see it. So this is an archetype that's going to be coming and hit you. It's like everything. It's like these are the things that you should know, but there's some boundaries or limitations based off of you being able to sense the emotions of the collective, and also maybe even having to let go of something that is not fulfilling, because what are you going to war with? What team are you playing with? If your mentalities change, or you dive into new information because it's in the hopes of being the most logical, right? It's in the hopes of actually progressing forward and what is best for humanity in general, right? Not necessarily about being right. It's not about being on the right side or on the wrong side. It is about what's actually logically there. So you shouldn't be. So once you reassess how far you've came, or what team you're working for, and or you're co-signing, and if it is not on that level, or if it's not incorporating that emotional aspect, if you get what I mean, if it's not going to move forward as much as you think it would, based off of, because I'm talking about with the boundaries being not being able to sense the emotions of the collective, or not being able to abandon things, because something may seem so right logically, but when you let it play out, it just doesn't work. Even though on paper it should work, but it just doesn't. But you're not taking in the energy, the accumulation, Pisces, aka the end product, what actually was, what it all meant, the why. You're not taking in the why and all of that. You're still trying to get things going and trying to push it through, you know, that type of aspect. So you have to be weary of that energy, and that's the themes and dynamic that you're going to be playing with throughout this Libra season. And let's see what's unconsciously hitting you, what you are unaware of. What influence may be hitting you that may prevent you from assimilating the best energy from the light deck. Three of Serpents. It's interesting because Three of Serpents, we're dealing with Mars and Capricorn. That's what the Three of Serpents represents. So what may be holding you back, or an unconscious influence, is your desire to succeed within structures, or that within a structure you are the illest that there is, you know? Tell you to create a game and shit like that, you may be shit at it or something like that. But give a game that's already created, or you may be dumbfounded and not know how to create the game or make it fun or something like that, you know what I mean? But someone give you a game and you're the illest nigga, you know, you outrun everybody, you know, you're just natural to it like that. Meaning, when there's a structure, it's easy for you to get your emotions behind it. When there's competition aspect, you know, when you're being put up on a stage, you know, when there's kind of like ladders to it, you know, you get amped, or kind of gets you into that exalted Mars state. Mars in Capricorn is when Mars is exalted. So dive in too much into the desires. Dive in too much in those first initial images, because, and remember, when you're dealing with Aquarius, fire is so easy. With your air, you're able to set things on flame, and you're adding the air. So it's like you're instigating, you're adding the flame, and then maybe you can sit back and be like, oh, that's not my flame, or that's not my fire, that's not my, but you added all the air to it. So you can disattach all you want. Your energy is still mixing, it's still mixed and mingled in, for sure. So you have to be careful of that exalted Mars, or keeping your desires in check. In terms, or at least not even keeping them in check, but being aware of them. Is this influencing on how you're communicating, what information that you are taking in, and how you interact, or how you're doing teamwork makes the dream work, and what you're rebelling against? You know what I mean? That exalted Mars energy, and building a foundation to, why don't you build your own ladder type system, you know, that type of thing, and really allow your passion to let go, or to see how your passions are being sparked, and find out ways to utilize it, and be like, oh, so that's why I'm getting passionate. Maybe if I would have put myself in a similar situation but doing this, I would still be motivated and stuff like that. And you're starting to actually use these things as your tools instead of being used by them. Let's see what the moon has to say. What advice the moon has to give for Aquarius. So for Aquarius, this Libra season, the moon oracle is saying, interesting, a new romantic cycle begins. Interesting. So maybe to allow yourself to add that emotional attachment, not even that emotional attachment, but allowing yourself to, with the Librarian energy coming in, that sextiling energy coming in, it's going to help you bring balance to the collective mind. It's going to help you bring balance to your social life and your friendships and the groups and institutions that you are a part of, you know. You can be the harmonious link. You can be the one that bridges two sides together and allows harmony to exist because you have the knowledge, you know what I mean? But as long as you have the pure desires and you have your eyes open and wide, now you can start applying that knowledge in the right spaces and actually start getting into that humanitarian energy and not be using it as being a demon with that humanitarian rebellious energy. That's when you're getting into the negative side. That's when you're being rebellious instead of revolutionary. You know what I mean? There's a difference, and it's based off of, you know, who's being perceived, you know, or who you're benefiting. But yeah, that's the advice from the Moon Oracle. Pisces, good old Pisces. What are you going through this Libra season? What are you consciously paying attention to? What is presenting itself to you? And how can you best assimilate the positive energy and aspects of these signs, of these archetypes? The High Priestess. Already off the bat, Pisces, what the fuck? So you're just gonna be psychic as fuck, but or you're just gonna be in tune as fuck. This Libra season coming up, interesting because it's the Mercury retrograde. So while the mind is already being retroactive, you know, everybody's already making the mistakes. Everybody's already, you know, stumbling and moving forward, scared to move forward and shit like that. Not only that, but also that Librarian energy, because Libra being ruled by Venus is exalted in Pisces, so you kind of can get with Libra, even though it's in conjunction, even though you don't understand why they're so extending the hand, why they're looking for peace and harmony, or how they're able to go out and to establish and bring peace and harmony and shit like that, why they go and do all of to get these beautiful things and stuff like that. You just like getting that shit, or your relationship is different. You're not as forceful or going out to go and get it. So it's kind of awkward or kind of weird because you fuck with it, but you're fucking with it on the lows type energy. But with the High Priestess, you're really focusing in on your intuition. You're really focusing in on how you are feeling in your internal realm. You're probably really turning the lens interior. And Neptune has been in there, that coming off of that full moon from Virgo season, that full moon in Pisces with that Neptune. That was probably one of the most magical full moons of all time, all up in y'all guys' signs. So y'all Pisces really did get this type of grand awakening to spiritual energy where you can't deny it anymore, where you are really sensing it. You can't deny it and say that it doesn't exist. It may not be as potent and powerful as like a poke or all of these physical things, but it's there. It's there. It's like background noise, you know? It's not silent anymore. You can hear it and you're paying attention to it. Really tune into that. Create a little internal map of these things, or some type of familiarity system, you know? Getting a good feel of them, you know? What do you hear? What do you see? What do you taste, you know? How does it make you feel physically, sensually, you know? Be as sensual as you can with your senses and with your imagination, with the energy or the feelings and emotions that you're going to be getting hit with. Because when you go internal, if you're going internal with this energy, you're going to find it. It's that type of energy. When you open up your heart to something true and honest and genuine, watch that shit just start floating and sliding into that realm of reality. And find yourself responding and acting accordingly. And you're like, how did I know how to do this? How did I know how to do that? And it's not based off of no logic. You just somehow knew. And you're going to have to learn to trust that. Believe. I believe. Pisces is I believe, but too often you believe in some other shit. And you learn how to believe into something else. Believe in you, Pisces. Believe in you. That's what you're supposed to be believing in. And that's what this card is talking, or this is what's going to help you tune in and realize how ill you were, how tuned in and connected you already were. Yeah, and that's the archetypes that you're going to be playing with this Venus season. Libra season. And what are you unaware of, Libra? God, motherfucking damn. God damn it! Yeah. What are you aware of? And what may be preventing you from assimilating the positive aspects of the card from the light deck? The King of Wands, which is interesting. With the cards, it doesn't necessarily always have to be you. It could be other figures in your life that are presenting themselves like this way, or that are playing out these energies. But a King of Wands type energy is holding on to a specific image and desire, or having someone else being the source of inspiration, or fulfilling out someone else's desires. So maybe that is the influence that is hitting you. Someone who knows their desires or has such a clear, strong image is kind of dragging you into it. And because you're a fucking Pisces and you sense all of this shit that is going on around you, it's kind of you fall into it. You kind of see their image and it's starting to become your own image, but that really could be pulling you away from diving into your own internal natures. You know what I mean? AKA, if somebody you're playing with your internal archetypes and you see somebody in that internal realm representing an energy within you, automatically you're kind of not supposed to be doing that stuff or using images of people that you know for those aspects, because it's not you. Ask it to take the shape and form that it represents within you, so that you are not diving into any of that black magic, making people do this type aspect, but you are dealing with your own internal natures, that you know that at any point in time that this is you, type thing. And that'll give you control. It's going to be scary at first when you realize that all of this is me. All of this is me. This is what it is. It's like it's going to feel crazy and overwhelming. But once you get over the fear aspect, once you are open to the energy, realize that there's good and bad to everything, and that you really can. There's no choice that is not where you can escape bad. You start to really value the potential to heal, or the potential to create your own reality, when you start really being open to this type of creative, or when taking responsibility for the states of being that you are in. So either it being you who's holding on to an image, or you being influenced by someone who's holding on to an image that is preventing you from really intuitively tuning into your feelings and emotion. It's supposed to look like something. You're supposed to do something to go and get that, or that's what the influence is trying to make you say. But you ain't got to do shit. You just have to notice, pay attention, tune into. Not saying that you don't have to do this thing or do those things, but it's not the action that is facilitating, and that's not the main event. That's not the main thing. It is you using your internal senses and remembering what it felt like. That is everything. And that's what's going to allow you to access those states of being, to dive into those. And let's see what the moon, advice the moon. Yo, that's crazy. I'm not going to lie. Yeah, I'll show y'all that one. As soon as I opened it, this card kind of flipped over. And it says, surrender to the divine. Very interesting. And y'all just came off of that full moon energy too. So those calls that you're hearing, believe in that shit. What the fuck else are you believing in? You know, some nigga who's telling you that's not true when you're going through this shit your goddamn self. Really tune into that shit and see what it is. It's all you. So what are you afraid of when it's all you? See, once you get over that overwhelming aspect, or once you realize that everything is good and bad, and then you realize that it's all just you. Now you're realizing, oh, yeah, it is on me. All right, so let me start doing some things that are beneficial or that work towards me, since I have this power and capability. Yeah. Surrender to the divine. You are the divine. You are the accumulation of all of that energy. So understanding your internal natures, that's the best way you're going to help out the people around you. So don't even get lost into these images. You're supposed to look at this way and all of that. You want to best help yourself. You want to best help the people around you. You want to best put things in your life together in the best in the right places. Go internal and understand how you feel and know how to move within that internal realm. Know how to allow yourself to shift into different states of beings, or what you have to do to make yourself feel different emotionally. And that's key to life, and period. And once you dive into that sauce, Pisces, we all start, it adds downloads into the collective, but we all got some extra sauce. And yeah, that's tarot for all the zodiac signs. Stay blessed, guys. Have a nice Libra season. Peace out.